Okay, so for those of you that don't know, one of my supreme influences on the whole YouTube thing is one JT Mitchell 87. He primarily does toy reviews, and I don't particularly watch him that much anymore, but I did for a very long time, especially when I was around 11 or 12, and his toy reviews are alright, but really what attracted me to his channel, especially in later years, is his variety of videos and how most of them, at least about maybe half of them, were a sort of introspection into his own life. And he was actually the one who made me, who inspired me to do the 50 Random Things video from a few years back. I think he was actually the progenitor of that whole genre. But nonetheless, you can see he is a supreme influence in the direction that this channel was headed in. And one of the things that he had done was that he owned numerous cats over the years. And they featured very heavily in most of his videos, and he actually had requests to review his cats, and so he did. He had many cats, as I said, and those videos are about 14 years old, and are still very good. So I figured I may as well do a similar thing. This right here is my cat Layla. On occasion, we do, actually more often than not, we call her Gigi because that was the name of the cat that came before her about 10 years ago. Main reason why we call her that is because, well, we'll get to that, but as you could see, the coloration on this particular specimen denotes that she's a calico. She is half, I believe, Bengal and half Maine Coon, which I suppose explains the coloration and such. And how I would describe her is, she didn't used to be this way, but she's very, very anxious and very frightful of most everything. She's about a year old now, and I reckon this is partly due to herself being stepped on by my mother when she was a little kitten, and that basically displaced her rib, and ever since then, I believe she's just been horrified of most everything. I mean, you cannot take her in the house because there's quite a lot of noise going on there. Didn't used to be that way, obviously, but there's quite a lot of noise going on in the house, and really that just sends her off. And if she sees anyone new, she runs, and you can see her eyes. I always described her as having terror-stricken eyes because you can see just how big they are and how a fright she tends to be. And it seems as though that really the only person she seems most comfortable with is me. She tends to do pretty well with my grandmother, but my mother, she doesn't like her much at all. And we tried introducing her to a dog that I was looking after. She's being a good cat right now, which is why she's getting pets. And basically she was holding her up and to her face and such as the dog was in the house, and basically She didn't want any of that and horribly disfigured Mother's face. It wasn't a horrible disfigurement. It was just a little scratch, but we exaggerate around here. That's all you can do, really. But nonetheless, we call it Gigi because, well, the story goes that previous cats strayed away from home, one after the other. The first was the male cat, and then the second was the female. And we basically call her that whenever she misbehaves. And even when she doesn't, because, I don't know, she's just so cute. She's just a little Gigi. And, anyway, that's Layla. And she's a really good cat, and we love her quite a bit. Okay, so moving on from Layla here, we have Riley. Riley is obviously a boy cat, and he's about the same age as Layla, about a year old, and as you can see, oh, look at that. They're very, very friendly with one another. They just love to play and lick each other. It's so cute, it really is. But as you can see, he had inherited quite a lot of the Bengal characteristics from either his mother or his father. I'm not entirely sure which one, but nonetheless, he actually resembles the previous cat that I was talking about, Gigi, the most, even though Layla is the female. Anyhow, so Rye is much more laid back, and basically, I don't know if you can hear, but well, maybe not, but he's very easy to get purring, whereas Gigi, I mean Layla, it's sort of a chore, actually, to get it going. But nonetheless, he's still a very good cat. He is much more relaxed, as I said. He doesn't necessarily fear much of anything. He actually prefers to be in the house, and as you can see, he's right by this little portable heater here, because he likes the warmth of that it emits, and he would actually prefer to sit in the house because I don't know, he's just a real cool cat and such, and whereas Layla would she would just be mewing and such. She doesn't meow, she mews to get out into the garage, and he's just much better behaved than is his sister. Now, Rye, as you can see, Riley is a pretty hefty animal. He does have a bit of a tummy. There's a reason for that. So, when he was about he was about 2 months or so old when we received him, or 6 weeks, I don't know. But nonetheless, he was very frail and wouldn't eat necessarily, and we have no idea exactly why this was. We almost lost him because of it, because he just wouldn't eat and was so weak and everything. But eventually, Mum had administered some fennel to him, and that basically had him going. And the reason why he's so fat is because, well, we thought it was because we had been giving him goat's milk, which we presumed to be good for cats originally. But apparently it causes bloating and such, and we've been giving it to both of them since they were kittens, and only recently, about 2 months ago, we had stopped it completely. So hopefully there'd be the swelling would go down, but evidently the main reason why he's so big is because, well, he eats out of the bag of food that we have lying around. So now we keep it basically out of reach of him. So we're trying to get him to reduce here, but nonetheless, he's still a good cat. He really is. One thing about Riley, which is kind of interesting but a bit concerning, is that whenever I pick him up, and I'm going to try and see if I can do this now. Whenever I pick him up, I don't know why this is, he always tends to, now I call this meow, because he seems to be in pain whenever I do it. So if you don't mind me, I'm just going to go ahead and pick you up there, right? I'm not sure if I'll capture this, but yeah, you just heard that little distressed meow there. Hang on a minute. Hang on, see. I can't demonstrate it right now, but nonetheless, I'm not sure why it is, but he always seems to be in pain whenever I pick him up. Now, whether this is because of the added weight that he has accumulated over the years, or whether I'm just pinching a nerve or something, maybe his spinal cord somehow is having pressure applied to it, I do not know exactly. If you're a cat professional, do let me know. But he always does that. He doesn't really seem to complain a whole lot, really, to anyone about it except for me. When my mother picks him up, he seems to be okay. When my grandmother, let me tell you, my grandmother and him just get on just fine, like chalk and cheese. And they're just so wonderful. They really are, these little cats. And I am very thankful to have been presented them. Rather suddenly, actually, because I was originally going to move into this garage on my own and be pretty much lonely there. And Mum thought I may as well have some company. And they make great company, these little cats here. And I'm very glad to have them in my possession. So thank you very much for watching this review of both my cats, Riley and Layla. And I suppose, I think there's one thing I forgot to mention about them, how they received their name. So Riley, okay, so initially, the first few nights when we got them, they went without names because I didn't know what to call them by. And so we were thinking of about all this, and originally we were going to name him after my father, whose name was Joe, but we thought that would be too obvious, so we decided, my father used to go by, I suppose, a pseudonym, a pet name that my mother used to assign to him called Riley, and so basically that's, the name stuck, and here's Ry right here, so cute. And then Layla over there, originally we were going to name her, well, I can't even say the name on here because, if you know me, you know why. But I'm going to say it was the name of someone whom I left long ago, and I really should have not, I should have seen her before I didn't anymore. It was a very stupid decision of me, and I won't be saying the name of this particular individual because I care supremely for her, perhaps more than anyone else I know, and she may well be watching this, but nonetheless, we're originally going to name her after that person. But, she's in the cat box there, so we'll just let her do her business. But Layla, she's obviously named because, I don't know, I was just, I suppose I was petting her and was just so besotted with her cuteness that I was basically starting up a very queer series of ululations that verged on the lines of Layla, and then all of a sudden Layla erupted from that, and we decided to name her Layla. Also, it's that song by Derek and the Dominoes, more famously Eric Clapton, that my father had liked very much. So was sort of her name has two meanings. But anyhow, that was a review of both my cats, Riley and Layla, and I hope you enjoyed, and expect to see hopefully more of them in the videos to come. Thank you very much. Cheers.